Lu Qinghao awakens the weakest farmer talent in a world where every new lord must survive. 7 days later, monsters will erase every territory unable to defend itself. His ordinary crops mutate into divine resources no other lord can produce. The same talent mocked as useless soon feeds his growth, funds his defenses, and empowers his soldiers. One divine seed creates a spirit field capable of transforming the future of his territory. Rare harvests also attract heroes whose beauty is matched by terrifying battlefield. Before the protection period ends, Lu Qinghao commands goddesses, golems, elves, and lethal enchanted crops. His F-rank beginning is already building an army around an SSS-grade farm. The proof arrives with his first mutated harvest, which matures almost instantly and grants permanent strength. From that moment, farming becomes his weapon against hunger, monsters, rival lords, and the approaching darkness. Lu Qinghao jolted awake amid the violent shaking, and Lu Qinghao opened his eyes. Did Lu Qinghao just die at his keyboard? And Lu Qinghao pinched himself hard. Welcome to Morningstar Continent, and countless races, gods, and demons coexist. The rookie protection period lasts 7 days, and after 7 days, darkness falls, and the monsters come. A war for dominance among lords, and Lu Qinghao rubbed his temples and quickly accepted reality. Prompt. Begin talent awakening now, and a beam of white light descended from above, engulfing him. It all came down to this, and the light flickered and tiny characters streamed past like a waterfall, detecting soul strength. When planting, an extremely small chance to increase yield by 1%, and an extremely small chance for a 1% boost. Meanwhile, the rookie village chat channel had completely blown up, and Lu Qinghao awakened C-grade strength. Lu Qinghao is a mage now, and Lu Qinghao is only E-grade lumberjack. Just then, a pillar of golden light shot up from the center of the village, its brilliance eclipsing the sun, and congratulations to Lord Xiao Tian for awakening the S-grade talent. SG raid right out the gate, and how's anyone supposed to compete? The Lord immediately launched into shameless flattery, and Brother Xiao Tian, you're insane. Sometimes the gap between people is wider than the gap between a person and a dog. And so what if Lu Qinghao isn't Frank Farmer? That's the whole reason Lu Qinghao has always lived so carefree. But just as Lu Qinghao was about to close the panel, something shifted. The panel flickered violently, and that utterly unremarkable F seemed to be torn apart by some invisible force. Finally, the light drew inward, and a talent radiating supreme divine might locked into place on the panel, and Primordial Spirit Field Unique Hidden Rank Eternal Effect 1. Effect 2. Time Flow. And time within the field flows differently from the outside world, drastically shortening growth cycles. Eternal Rank. A unique talent, and in that instant, his breathing came to a complete halt. No matter how trashy the seed, once it passes through his hands, it becomes a divine treasure, and in Lu Qinghao harvested instantly. Building level 1 log cabin, and resources. Wood X10, stone X10, iron or X10. 2 dry, hard chunks of black bread, and a small pouch of seeds, and crude as it was, it took care of his most pressing need. With the talent activated, the soil had already turned a deep dark gold, as if brimming with boundless life. And let's give it a shot. An instant later, a tender sprout burst from the ground, formed grain heads, and ripened, and the whole thing took less than 10 seconds. Obtained special crop warm sun wheat X10, and Lu Qinghao reached out and carefully harvested the wheat. After consumption grants the satiated and warm sun status for 10 hours, and immunity to cold and continuous stamina recovery. This was practically a divine artifact made for survival, and Lu Qinghao was in a great mood. It was staying alive, and only the living had the right to talk about development. But who's to say these 7 days would be perfectly safe? And something told him it wasn't going to be that simple. Another S rank. Frost Archer suing, their region is about to take off, and suing, that name just screams gorgeous. This was a world where strength was everything, and an S-rank beauty was destined to be chased by the masses, and Xiaoan, who just finished basking in his own praise, popped up as well. How about they add each other as friends? And his words carried an unquestionable air of superiority, as if declaring his position as leader. Lu Qinghao approved of this marriage, but after a full minute of waiting, Suing gave no response whatsoever. True powerhouses are always lonely, and having forced himself an out, he said nothing more. Naturally, he'd want to consolidate power, establishing dominance, positioning himself as a leader, and too bad he ran into Suing, someone even colder and prouder than him. S-rank alchemist, S-rank marksman, whatever. And in his eyes, none of it came close to his primordial spirit field. Instead of wasting time watching people argue, Lu Qinghao would be better off studying his spirit field. And Lu Qinghao shook his head and closed the channel. The epic main quest has begun, and this voice was filled with sacred solemnity, completely different from before, sending a violent jolt through everyone's heart. Quest name: Save the Morningstar Queen. In background. While repelling the Abyss invasion, the Queen of the Morningstar Empire was afflicted with a vicious curse by the Abyss Lord, Abyssal Withering. Those who provide a method to ease the curse will receive the title of Marquis and an epic grade item. A noble title, a legendary grade item, building blueprints, and the Queen's highest friendship. Within the light, a breathtakingly beautiful figure gradually emerged, and it was a woman so gorgeous she took his breath away. Her features were exquisite, as if crafted by the gods themselves, and her skin was whiter than snow. The ultimate majesty and the ultimate fragility intertwined, creating a deadly allure. And to the right of the image, a blood-red countdown flickered, stabbing at the eyes. The chat channel went dead silent for a second, then completely exploded. And oh his God, is this Her Majesty? The Queen? Baby, who did this to you? And Lu Qinghao is going to wipe out that Abyss Lord. Xiao Tian, the Queen's safety concerns the entire continent, and as an S-rank alchemy master, Lu Qinghao have a duty to act. Xiao Tian is a legend, the hope of humanity, and the light screen slowly faded. But the Queen's heartbroken, fragile image was seared into the minds of billions across the globe. Lu Qinghao just smiled faintly, and of course, Lu Qinghao wanted to. Right now, the most important thing was to build himself up first, and Lu Qinghao rubbed his chin. The first wave of climate disaster, winter's curse, will descend in 3 hours, and after sunset, the temperature will plunge to 30 degrees. This warning was like a bucket of ice water jolting awake, and everyone's still lost in their Save the Queen fantasy. Lu Qinghao is going to turn into an ice sculpture, and Lu Qinghao will trade food for it. Haha. Lu Qinghao is an E-rank lumberjack, and DM him if you need lumber. Lu Qinghao has already started researching an alchemy furnace, and once Lu Qinghao have enough materials, Lu Qinghao will have everyone warm by tonight. Just name whatever materials he need, and they'll pull them together. Sure sounds fancy, so the materials had to be rare, and by the time he gathered everything and built it, people would already be frozen stiff. Then Lu Qinghao looked at the warm sun meteor radiating heat in his hand, and a brilliant money-making plan clicked into place instantly. 10 stocks per cluster, and he've obtained warm sun wheat. A warm current rose from his stomach and instantly flowed through his entire body like soaking in a hot spring, and all his fatigue vanished in an instant. This was practically a tailor-made lifesaver for the extreme cold that was coming, and less than 2 hours left until 8:00 p. Night arrived right on schedule, and without any warning, a bone-chilling wind swept across the land, carrying ice crystals with it. Lu Qinghao can't feel his legs, and system says Lu Qinghao has entered a freezing status. At that very moment, a transaction quietly appeared in the trading market, and seller Liang Flint ×1 demand iron or X3 first come first served. A second later, the transaction status changed to completed, and the lord who scored it immediately started bragging in the channel. Too bad Lu Qinghao don't have enough wood to keep it going. And anyone want to trade wood? Janji, flint, iron, or X4, and hurry if you want it. Each one greedier than the last, and but even so, business was booming. Lu Qinghao don't want to die, and where's the big boss? Lu Qinghao watched the wailing flood the channel, the corners of his mouth curling up, and this was exactly the reaction Lu Qinghao wanted. Unhurried, Lu Qinghao began drafting the listing. And seller Lu Qinghao Sunlit Wheat X1 requires with X10 stone, X10 iron, or X10 stock 10 exclusive supply. Then came the fury, bursting like a flash flood. And am Lu Qinghao reading this right? It's just food, man. And he's actually got the nerve to charge that. Hera, boys, guess what his talent is? And the most worthless talent there is. And he's charging this. And is he insane, or are they the lowest of the low trash? Wang Hao at Lu Qinghao, and have he got no shame? Just as everyone was tearing him apart, a small, hesitant voice piped up, and has anyone actually clicked on the wheat and read its stats? Every single one of them stared, eyes wide, and immunity to all cold damage plus continuous HP regen for 10 straight hours. It was a life-saving miracle, and next to it, A flint striker was nothing but a joke. But one glance at that price made his chest ache so badly he could hardly breathe. And why should something this miraculous be grown by an F-rank farmer? Wang Hao's mind raced as he had D him again, and Wang Hao at Lu Qinghao. Otherwise, get ready to be despised by the whole village. And yet, they somehow drew a wave of agreement. At Lu Qinghao, hurry up and apologize, and then offer the wheat stock to Brother Xiao. Countless people ademing Lu Qinghao crawl out and beg for forgiveness, and Lu Qinghao couldn't even be bothered to glance at it. Lu Qinghao lay comfortably in his warm bed, savoring the heat spreading through his body, quietly waiting for the first smart one to take the bait. S-rank frost archer suing. She could sense the power of this curse better than anyone because she herself was ice-attributed, and the cold didn't scare her, but she could see it clearly. Only that warm sun wheat stock was the true way out, and was the price steep to her? A mob with no sense of even basic value judgment, and they were destined not to survive 7 days. Seller Lu Qinghao's item warm sun wheat stock -1 current stock 9, and the entire channel fell silent in an instant. The chat channel erupted with laughter, and there are still geniuses like this these days going bankrupt just to buy a piece of wheat. Wanga at Lu Qingzhao. And he actually scammed some poor sucker. The next second a name popped up and all the laughter died instantly, and this item is worth every penny. Am Lu Qinghao seeing things? And the one and only goddess Su. Oh no. Did Lu Qinghao just laugh way too loud earlier? And they'd mock any ordinary person without a second thought, but they'd never dare question the judgment of an S-rank heavyweight. Those still hesitating, watching, and mocking. And by the time they snapped out of it, it was already too late. His lord, Lu Qinghao was just running his mouth, and Lu Qinghao will count out to he. Lu Qinghao looked at the newly added lumber, stone, and iron ore in his resource panel and smirked, and a smart and beautiful woman. 10 lumber, 10 stone, 10 iron, and this time they're his. Anyone who buys as a key was so furious his words were practically trembling. And can he see he's jacking up the price? The moment he said this, quite a few people actually wavered. And after all, this price would drain every last bit of their savings. Xian, young man, Lu Qinghao would advise he to play nice and bring the price back to a reasonable range. And Lu Qinghao will pretend none of this happened. The bootlickers instantly climaxed, and Brother Xiao Tian is a legend. Don't be too proud to know what's good for he. And drop the price now or once they survive tonight. Lu Qinghao will be the first one to come stomp his dog kennel flat. Inventory user -1, and 10 sale notifications flooded the channel almost simultaneously. Then the buyers started chiming in. And this wheat is insane. Not just warm, his stamina and HP are slowly recovering, too, and totally worth the resources. Wang Hao, he bunch of traitors, and they agreed to boycott together. Boss, please list some more. And please, Lu Qinghao don't want to die young. In under a second, sold out, and Wanga was shaking all over. Everyone, don't fall for it. And he's exploiting their fear. If you want to freeze to death, don't drag them down with he, and Lu Qinghao is toasty warm right now and feeling amazing. Fear was never the most expensive commodity, and greed and dread in the human heart were. Their warnings and boycott measured against that string of sale notifications had become two complete jokes, and everyone understood that S-rank alchemist had bitten off more than he could chew this time. The ones who missed out on the wheat couldn't be bothered mocking Wang Ho anymore, and they flooded his mentions, launching a fresh round of begging and wailing. Lu Qinghao can't feel his toes, and if Lu Qinghao don't get some warmth soon, Lu Qinghao is going to lose a foot. After the 9th batch sold out, no matter how much the channel howled and wailed, Lu Qinghao never listed a 10th, and hold something back and he hold on to their craving. You have to understand an average lord starts out with a grand total of 30 units to their name. Time to upgrade the territory, and with a single thought, Lu Qinghao pulled up the territory construction panel. A soft white light instantly enveloped that drafty thatched hut, and a few seconds later, the light faded. Windows boarded up tight, radiating a real sense of security, and small cabin upgraded to LV. Congratulations to Lord Lu Chang'a for being the first to upgrade a building to LV, and 2, becoming the Ville's first lord to upgrade a structure. The channel instantly exploded, and it's only day 1. He guys just wake up freezing, and he bought up all their wheat and cleaned out every last resource they had. This world's gone insane, and shock, envy, and something bitter that no one could quite name. The cold wind poured in through the gaps, leaving him shivering uncontrollably, and even an S-rank constitution couldn't hold up against the relentless assault of this winter curse. He was a dignified S-rank alchemist, and one of the chosen, the future ruler of the world. First hoarding all the food, ignoring his warnings, and now the first to upgrade his cabin, and he, Xiaoan, had become the laughingstock of the entire newbie village. Damn. It felt good. And let's check the rewards first. Lu Qinghao rubbed his chin, and useless in the newbie village for now. But the moment Lu Qinghao stepped into the wider world, they'd be absolutely essential, whether trading with NPCs or recruiting soldiers. Here's hoping Lu Qinghao gets something useful, and Lu Qinghao rubbed his hands together and opened it. Lu Qinghao froze for a second, then broke into a grin, and for him, any kind of seed was 10,000 times better than getting resources directly. Lu Qinghao put away the copper coins, 300 total now, and then Lu Qinghao pinched a single little pumpkin seed and stepped out of the warm cabin, the Hongming Spirit Field. And come on, let's see what kind of surprise a tiny pumpkin can bring him. A thick vine burst from the ground, coiling savagely and shooting upward at incredible speed, and a dozen seconds later, a basketball-sized pumpkin formed at the top of the vine. Its surface covered in lava-like cracks that flickered light and dark like a beating heart, and a scorching heat radiated off it. Explosive pumpkin rank mutated crop effect one-time throwable, and explodes violently after being thrown, dealing 100 fire damage to all enemies within a 5m radius. Lu Qinghao couldn't help but curse out loud. And this wasn't a pumpkin at all. Lu Qinghao forced down his excitement and planted another seed. And would every pumpkin turn into a bomb? It looked like a work of art. And obtained special crop crystal pumpkin X1. Durability scales with mental strength D rating. And it gives he more of a sense of security than the sturdiest shield. The explosive pumpkin was his spear, and the crystal pumpkin was his shield. Tomorrow, Lu Qinghao can finally go check out the world beyond, and hiding in his territory was safe. The remaining 8 seeds did they hold more surprises, and like an old farmer, Lu Qinghao planted them one by one. Soon 7 pumpkins had formed, and obtained explosive pumpkin X4. The mutations were fixed, but Lu Qinghao wasn't disappointed, and being able to mass-reduce items this overpowered was already broken beyond belief. A pillar of dark golden light, more dazzling than all the previous mutations combined, erupted violently into the sky. Its growth rate was more than 10 times faster than before, and in the blink of an eye, it coiled into a writhing mass. Instead, it radiated a heart-topping aura of destruction, and 1 in 10,000 probability triggered. Hellfire. Explosive Pumpkin X1. And his breath caught as Lu Qinghao pulled up its stats. Applies Hellfire Burn 10 damage per second for 5 seconds, and rating a gift straight from hell. A 10m radius, and 25 area damage plus 50 burn damage. This is what security feels like, and with a trump card like this, Lu Qinghao could walk out of the newbie village like Lu Qinghao owned the place. And Frank Farmer, and he upgrades a building on day 1. And he think maybe he's not actually Frank? Those wheat stocks are insane. And plus, he's the first to upgrade a building. Why was some farmer stealing all the spotlight? And Lu Qinghao is the one with S-rank talent. That's all, he told himself, forcing calm. And once the newbie protection period ends, a farmer with 0 combat power is nothing but a lamb waiting for slaughter. Don't let a little short-term game blind he. And when it comes to developing his territory, what matters in the end is raw strength. Now that's thinking long-term, and some shady little merchant is nothing but a flash in the pan. And Lu Qingzhou's wheat that could genuinely get them through the winter, and which one was more reliable. The next day, morning light streamed through the windows of his wooden cabin, and Lu Qinghao opened his eyes and stretched, feeling refreshed and clear-headed. Lu Qinghao ate a single warm sunwheat stalk, felt the heat spread through his whole body, and pushed open the cabin door. During the protection period, lords are forbidden from attacking each other, but there's no restriction on venturing outside. But now, his backpack was packed with 5 grenades for shields and 1 small nuke. And talk about a confidence boost. The only sounds around him were his footsteps and the wind, and a few hundred meters in, Lu Qinghao stopped short. Their fur was pitch black, their drool riaked, and their eyes were savage and hungry, and demonic wolf level 1, HP 80. Oh, a welcome gift right off the bat, and instead of fear, Lu Qinghao felt excitement. With a flick of his arm, Lu Qinghao hurled it right into the middle of the 3 wolves. This was his masterpiece, and the product of an entire night's work and every last resource he had. In this world, combat power is everything. And today, Lu Qinghao is going to show everyone who the true ruler of this newbie village really is. Luck was on his side, and he soon ran into two wolves out foraging. The alchemical golem lumbered forward with heavy steps, charging at the wolves like a walking tank, and the golem's stats completely outclassed them, but the wolves were nimble. The damage was low, but Xiao Tian's heart clenched anyway, and this was the treasure he'd sunk a fortune into. A wild wolf went down, and -20, Xiao Tian let out a breath and flashed a triumphant grin. That farmer, Lu Chua, what a joke. But just as the puppet was about to make contact with the wolf, a blindingly brilliant golden announcement suddenly exploded across the top of the channel. He is the first lord in this village to level up, and rewards random weapon chest X1. The smug smile froze on his lips, and he stood there like he'd been struck by lightning. Why was he always one step ahead of him? And this is absolutely impossible. He even forgot the danger he was in, and two wolves pounced, their claws and fangs tearing through the puppet's iron plating like it was nothing. Don't come any closer. And one glare from those savage eyes, and Xiao Tian was scared out of his wits, his legs buckling beneath him. The chat channel completely blew up, and Lu Qinghao hit level 2. How's a farmer killing monsters with a hoe? And if that's Frank, Lu Qinghao will live stream himself eating crap upside down. Meanwhile, Xiaoan, having fled back to his cabin in disgrace, slammed a fist into the wall. His face twisted with humiliation and resentment, and just then, a private message window popped up. Xiao Tian, still shaken, read the message and started trembling with rage. And okay, Lu Qinghao is completely losing it here. He took a deep breath and replied in the most casual, breezy tone he could manage, and let the bullet fly a little longer. 3 massive corrupted wolves lay sprawled across the ground, their bodies still twitching, and Lu Qinghao walked over, his face completely calm, like Lu Qinghao just casually squished 3 little chicks. Lord Lu Chu. Qinghao level 20,200s. HP 120, 120 MP. 130. 130 strength, 12 agility, 11 constitution, 12 spirit, 13, charisma, 18 special. Stat affects his relationships. The corner of his mouth curled up, and last time Lu Qinghao opened a resource chest, 1 pumpkin seed had been a total game-changer. The explosive pumpkin packed a punch, but it was consumable and way too wasteful to use on a single enemy. Its blade curved at an eerie angle, and blood-red veins snaking across the surface, giving off a faint, sinister aura. Crimson Fong rare attack plus 25 agility plus 2 effect, and each strike has a 10% chance to inflict bleed, dealing -3 HP per second for 5 seconds. It couldn't compare to the ridiculous mutant pumpkin, but for the early game, this was top tier. 3 wolf pelts, 6 chunks of wolf meat, 3 copper coins, and Lu Qinghao stashed the spoils and kept heading deeper into the forest. The deeper Lu Qinghao went, the darker it got, and the more the air rire of danger, and Lu Qinghao rounded a thicket. Its grayish-white fur bristled with an eerie menace, and its blood-red eyes gleamed with both intelligence and brutality, and giant corrupted alpha wolf elite. Blast pumpkin in his pack, and one throw would definitely one-shot this beast, but that was his strongest trump card. Perfect chance to see just how much punch his regular pumpkins pack, and the giant wolf didn't give him time to think. Instead of retreating, Lu Qinghao lunged forward, and with a flick of his wrist, a crystal-carved pumpkin appeared in his palm. The wolf's pounce crashed dead on into the barrier, and cracks spiderwebbed across it. But it held. 3 thunderous blasts detonated almost simultaneously, sending flames, shooting skyward, and -100 to 100 to 100. Its 300-point health bar dropped to 0 in an instant, and a full-fledged level 2 elite. Lu Qinghao rubbed his nose, and the moment the corpse hit the ground, a golden announcement rang out across the entire village. The chat channel went dead silent, and whether shivering in the icy wind or cautiously probing the edges of the forest, every lord just stared. Dumruck. They're too scared to touch the small mobs, and he's already slaying elites, and from this day forward, Lu Qinghao is his daddy at Xiaotian. Yesterday, he was all high and mighty, lecturing Lord Lua, and today, his face got slapped so hard it's swollen. This is what an S-rank big shot amounts to. Lu Qingzhou again. That Frank peasant he treated like an ant. A private chat window popped up, and same idea as before. Still not ready yet. And back in the forest, smoke still curled up from the giant wolf's corpse. That efficiency is just unbeatable, and Lu Qinghao stepped forward to loot the body. Skill fragment X1 obtained, and Lu Qinghao raised an eyebrow. A skill the Lord himself could learn, and now that was a rare find. Wonder what Lu Qinghao will get out of it. And Lu Qinghao rubbed his hands together and opened it. He have to understand ordinary wheat and pumpkin seeds had already become absolutely broken after mutating in the Primordial Spirit Field. And so, what kind of terrifying things would the fine quality ones produce? Standing before the dark golden Primordial Spirit Field, Lu Qinghao take a deep breath and pull out the first emerald seed, and it gives off a faint aura of life. A tiny sapling breaks through the soil and rapidly sprouts branches and fruit, and in just a dozen seconds, a fist-sized emerald fruit dangles down. An absolute gamture this early on, and Lu Qinghao swallow it in one bite and a cool current flows through every inch of his body, leaving him feeling noticeably lighter. Fruit of Titan Strength X1 Permanent +2 Strength, and Fruit of the Resilient Wood X1 Permanent +2 Constitution. The first 11 all mutated into permanent stat fruits or powerful potions. And if Lu Qinghao sold these, every lord out there would lose their minds. A 2m tall arrow tower, and its body made of black ironwood with a cold, massive crossbow mounted at the top. Trait requires an archer to garrison and activate, and holy crap, he can grow buildings too. The pitch-black arrow tower stands like a silent sentinel, and his sense of security instantly climbs a notch. A giant pink flower bud bursts out of the ground and blooms in the breeze, and a petite figure slowly rises from within the flower center. Soft armor woven from vines and green leaves wraps around her delicate frame, and on her back, she carries an elven bow nearly as tall as she is. Acquired pink-haired elf archer X1. And Lu Qinghao was completely stunned. Fighting back the urge to pinch her cheeks, Lu Qinghao checked her stats, and pink-haired elf archer, level 1, loyalty 100, die hard. Pumped up like Lu Qinghao had been hit with a shot of adrenaline, and Lu Qinghao planted all 5 remaining seeds in one go. 6 pink-haired little Lolas stood barefoot in a row, and 12 big watery eyes fixed on him all at once as they cried out in unison, "Master." When Lu Qinghao planted the last seed, the 20th one, boom, a beam of holy white light, more dazzling than all the previous ones combined, shot into the sky, and the entire Primordial Spirit Field, waist-length silver hair cascaded down like moonlight, and her skin was finer than white jade, glowing pale. The silver-haired girl stepped down from the platform, knelt on one knee, and spoke in a cool yet respectful voice, "And Aaron, at his service, master." And Lu Qinghao would hit it again, and suppressing his wild joy, Lu Qinghao reached out to help her up. Unit Moon Elf Aaron, and Quality Shrank Unique Hero Growable Level 10, 1000. Skill 2, Moonbeam Arrow, and active channel a beam of moonlight into an arrow dealing 200% damage and slowing the target for 3 seconds. Lu Qinghao sucked in a sharp breath and shrank a unique hero. Her base stats were double those of the 6 little Lawless, and she came with an aura on top of it. His heart was pounding, and looking at this girl, cold and distant as the moon, yet absolutely loyal to him. As if sensing his burning gaze, a faint blush crept across her snow-white little face. Ellen dropped to one knee again, and Ellen will never betray Master's trust. He too get in the towers, and the 2 little ones scampered over on their short legs and pink little heads soon popped out from the tower tops. People were still going wild over his first elite kill, and can someone explain to him what that even means? Lu Qinghao bet his talent isn't farmer at all, and his real talent has to be S-rank combat class. The bitterness practically dripped off the screen the second he opened his mouth, and his composure was shot. Brother Xiaotian's right, and that Lu Qinghao is just a scheming little opportunist. Brother Xiaotian's saving up for something big, and the moment he makes his move, it's the end of the line for Lu. The elites already made their kills, and he's still holding out, and Lu Qinghao is starting to think you're constipated or something. From now on, Lu Qinghao is only standing Lu Qingxiao, and watching the tide of comments turn completely against him, Xiaotian nearly spat up another mouthful of blood. His territory is the first thing Lu Qinghao is going to raze to the ground, and Lu Qinghao just smiled at his impotent rage. Aaron and her little archer were strong, and sure, but they were still only level 1. A moment ago, Lu Qinghao was just an explorer, and now Lu Qinghao is a hunter. Up in the sky, that familiar golden screen unfurled once again, and Lu Qinghao looked up, and there within the screen that breathtaking figure who haunted the dreams of countless men appeared once more. Silver hair cascading like a waterfall, but her lovely face had lost every trace of color, gone a heartbreaking snow-white pale. A misty film clouded her amethyst eyes, her delicate frame trembling faintly, her breathing quick and shallow, and that fragile, helpless look paired with the eerie black mist created a deadly kind of allure. Below it, the black progress bar for the Kurz's corruption level had quietly crept up from yesterday's 5% to 8%, and the global channel went dead silent for 10 seconds, then exploded. What the hell is that black mist? And get away from his wife's face. Guys, did he notice the way that black mist is wrapped around the queen? And it kind of looks like black stockings. Inside a damp, dimly lit tear, one wooden cabin, and Xiao's face was dark as he stared at the alchemical puppet lying disassembled into parts on the floor. Lu Qinghao is such an idiot, and he slapped himself hard across the face. Why the hell would Lu Qinghao go around fighting and killing like that dirt poor Lu Qinghao? And that's the lowest form of leveling up. His name would be sung across the entire continent. And Lu Qinghao still stuck in some tiny newbie village patting himself on the back for killing one elite mob. Lu Qinghao see the future of the entire Morning Star continent. And this is what it means to overtake on the curve. Time to fleece some sheep, and Lu Qinghao has seen the queen's situation. Lu Qinghao is begging all of he to help and trade him his surplus resources. The queen's glory belongs to every one of them, and the mood in the channel instantly hit a fever pitch. And Xiao Tian's this good, and truly an S-rank alchemist. There's strength in numbers, and they'll get him all the materials he needs. This is what real leadership looks like, and willing to give up even legendary tier rewards for the queen. Today, he only care about killing mobs and leveling yourself up, and completely ignoring whether the queen lives or dies. All he cares about is his own growth, and not an ounce of team spirit. Lu Qinghao, get out of the newbie village under Wang, has incitement, and as soon as Lu Qinghao made his move, plenty of people started tearing into him again. Stone X3 Iron or X2, and Lord Wang Matzi wants to trade with he. In their eyes, this was an investment in the future, and the moment Xiao Tian succeeded, they'd be his loyal founding vassals. So easy to con research a cure like hell he would. And he didn't even know what the curse was. That was the real play. And once he was strong enough, so what if he broke his word? Upgrade the log cabin, and level 1 log cabin has upgraded to level 2 reinforced cabin. Alchemy golem, build it for him, and Luing, just he wait. Those champions of justice whom Xiao Tian had whipped up with just a few slick words, and Lu Qinghao couldn't help but let a playful smirk tug at the corner of his mouth. Behind him, the silver-haired little lowly Irene, cold and serene as the moon, guided 4 identical pink-haired Lolas, following his every step. Her eyesight far surpassed that of any ordinary person. And can he handle them? Use them to whet his blades, and a sharp glint flashed through Irene's ruby-red eyes. Irene wasted no words, and she simply made a gesture. A woe in the distance, 5 wolves gnawing on a corpse jerked their heads up, and 4 arrows struck their eye sockets with perfect precision. At that moment, an even more brilliant silver arrow, as if it had gathered the very moonlight from the sky, stray with a long trailing flame. From start to finish, it took less than 3 seconds, and Lu Qinghao hadn't even lifted a hand. It was pure art, and a rare blush crept onto Irene's cool little face. After that, the entire forest became his personal hunting ground, and before the lowly legion, those vicious wolves were as flimsy as paper. After a few waves, all 4 pink-haired Lolas lit up with the golden glow of a level up, and his unit, pink-haired elven archer, has advanced to level 2. Just as Lu Qinghao was about to push deeper, roar, and an ear-splitting roar erupted from a cave up ahead. Before Lu Qinghao could say a word, Irene had already thrown herself in front of him, her pretty face grave, and its aura is extremely dangerous. Calm, even in the face of danger, and for arrows struck its thick hide, drawing only pitiful single-digit damage. The earth quaked violently, a shockwave rippling outward in an instant, and Irene drifted backward like a phantom. A hair's breadth from death, and a streak of silver light suddenly flared. The silver arrow slammed dead on into the bear's paw, forcing its trajectory off course, and the paw grazed past the little lowly and smashed into the ground, gouging out a deep crater. Lu Qinghao had been holding back this whole time, waiting for this exact moment, and his figure vanished, and the next second, Lu Qinghao was behind the slowed giant bear. Bayou rower wounded in a vital spot, and the giant bear went completely berserk, spinning around with a sweeping swipe. Caught in the crossfire between him and Irene, this once unstoppable elite bear went down howling without ever laying a finger on the hem of his clothes. Meanwhile, over in the channel of newbie village number 10000086, the fanatical worship of Xiao enraged on. A big shot doing research needs to eat, too, And if he passes out from low blood sugar and loses his train of thought, that's a loss for all of humanity. The guy above him is hardcore, and donating those 10 iron ores of his was thinking way too small. Generosity is never a bad thing. His unit, Pink Fur Elf Archer, has advanced to level 3, and his hero, Moon Elf, Wen, has advanced to level 2. Not only did Lu Qinghao level up, but Aelin and the 4 pink-haired Lolas got a nice boost, too. Thick Bear King Pelt X3 obtained Blueprint, and Bear King Warboots X1 obtained Skill Book. The drop rate was on a whole different level, and Lu Qinghao checked the skill book first. Lu Qinghao learned it without hesitation, and white light melted into his body and his arm muscles instantly filled with explosive power. Product: Defense plus 15, Strength plus 2, and Defense, exactly what Lu Qinghao was lacking most right now. Lu Qinghao put them on immediately, nodded in satisfaction, then turned his gaze to the last item, and Elite Giant Bear's Soul of Brute Force. This single item was worth 3 levels, and Lu Qinghao used it right away. Lu Qinghao opened his status panel, and Lord Lu Qinghao level 30,500s. Adding up all the attribute fruits Lu Qinghao devoured earlier, his 4 core stats had already completely crushed every other lord at this stage. Lu Qinghao took them and gave her cool, delicate cheek a playful pinch, and Ellen's pretty face flushed instantly. Master, all right. Everyone gets a turn, and Lu Qinghao laughed and pinched each of their soft, rosy cheeks, drawing out a chorus of giggles. After walking a while, Ellen suddenly stopped and pointed, and Master, there's a faint energy fluctuation on the cliff 200 meters ahead to the left. Let's go check it out. And Lu Qinghao walked up to the cliff and knocked. Inside, a hidden compartment, and Lu Qinghao clenched his fist. The hard stone shattered, sending debris flying and blasting open a gaping hole, and a pitch-black opening just wide enough for one person appeared. Lu Qinghao kicked open the rotting lid, and no gold or silver, just a yellowed ancient-looking blueprint. Builds a 100-slot storage cabinet with preservation, and plant and food items decay 90% slower. Lu Qinghao had been stressing over having too many resources and no room to stash them in the little cabin, and the real kicker was that preservation effect. Exploring the map really was the fastest way to strike it rich, and suddenly, Ellen sounded the alarm again. Lu Qinghao raised an eyebrow, and instead of alarm, Lu Qinghao felt excitement. Before long, a massive pack of scarletide wolves surged toward the edge of the forest, led by 2 level 2 elite wolves. And Irene, take out those 2 elites. Gripping the scarlet fang, Lu Qinghao tore into the pack like black lightning, and one wolf's throat split open, blood spraying wild. 20 strength plus a top-tier weapon, and these level 1 wolves were as fragile as paper. Level up to level 4, and at the exact moment Lu Qinghao leveled up, a vast majestic voice of the heavenly Tao rang out across the entire sky of Rookie Village number 1000. The top 100 Lord levels will update in real time for his reference. And now, this is what competition's supposed to feel like. Some wanted to fight for first place, and others just wanted to avoid being dead last. In that instant, across the entire Rookie Village, every lord stopped what they were doing, and countless people immediately pulled up that glittering golden leaderboard. Rank 3, Lin Foam, Level 2, and number 1 is Lu Qinghao again. Level 4, even a rocket couldn't climb that fast. How come Big Bro Xiao isn't anywhere in the top 100, and a full-blown S-ranker who can't even crack the top 100? What's there to brag about? And so, what if Lu Qinghao hits level 10? He's holed up in a drafty little cabin, forgoing food and sleep to research the antidote, and he's a true hero. Sob. Lu Qinghao misjudged the great Xiao Tian compared to him, and Lu Qinghao is just a selfish jerk. The tide of public opinion had shifted once again, and meanwhile, the so-called savior of humanity, Xiao Tian, was lounging comfortably in his warm level 2 log cabin. Half the resources he'd scammed went into upgrading the cabin, and the other half went straight into the alchemy table. Estimated completion, 5 hours, and Lu Qinghao, number 1 on the leaderboard, he scoffed. Over 20 corrupted wolves lay sprawled across the ground, and Lu Qinghao stood in the center of the carcasses and clapped his hands. 4 little pink-haired girls padded forward on their snow-white little feet, diving joyfully into the pile of corpses. Great material for weapons and arrows, and her eyes crinkled into happy little crescents. A little girl came bouncing over, dragging a dusty leather cap behind her, and common defense plus 3, a reward for he, and she spun around in place several times, showing it off to her sisters. Only Aaron remained cool and serene as the moon, standing quietly to the side, directing the sorting and organizing with flawless precision, and before long, the loot had all been tallied. "Master, everything's been organized," Ellen said, walking over with a respectful report, and Lu Qinghao waved his hand grandly. "The big sisters are back, and a sturdy log cabin, unbeatable spirit fields, a powerful arrow tower, and 6 pure, capable elf lulls," one little lowly asked, dragging a wolf pelt bigger than she was. And Lu Qinghao glanced at the log cabin. Lu Qinghao pulled out that rare blueprint, elf storage cabinet, and with a single thought, Lu Qinghao selected build and consume wood x 300 stone x 50 copper coins, x 100 to build the elf storage cabinet. 10 odd seconds later, the light faded, and a 3 m tall pale cyan wooden cabinet stood before him. The little Lolas crowded around it, reaching out their snow-white little hands to touch it all over. The moment the wolf, meat, and wheat went in, a green preserving tag appeared beside each, and with this treasure, Lu Qinghao finally had a solid home base to fall back on. Not far off in the dark gold Primordial Spirit Field, for little Lola had dozed off, sprawled every which way, sweet smiles on their pink faces, their tiny tummies rising and falling with each breath. Lu Qinghao closed his eyes in contentment. "So nice," Lu Qinghao hummed lazily, hearing the praise. A faint blush quietly spread across Ellen's snow-white cheeks, and idly, Lu Qinghao pulled up the chat channel Lu Qinghao hadn't checked in ages. Lu Qinghao is a total beast, and level 4, crushing everyone for first place. Lu Qinghao is literally begging he on his knees, and more than half the crowd was going nuts with praise. Wang Hao, what a bunch of short-sighted idiots, and what good is a high level? He gave up leveling to research the antidote, and that's a real hero. Lu Qinghao almost laughed out loud, and that Xiao Tian, thoroughly outmatched by him in levels, had just switched lanes. Every listing had a comment section full of haggling and bragging, and quite the lively scene. The price had more than doubled since yesterday, and the comments had already exploded. Can he compare that to that L guy? And Brotherly is selling life-saving flint. Who knows if there'll be a new curse tonight, and at the critical moment, this is a lifeline. Never missing a chance to take a shot at him wherever he went. And Lu Qinghao kept scrolling down. Only trading for wheat? And the comment section was pure chaos. Translation: Lu Qinghao have a used bicycle and Lu Qinghao would like to trade it for a Bugatti Veyron. And Wang Ho, stop cursing him out. Someone immediately fired back. And that guy's wheat saved how many lives? Just as Lu Qinghao was about to lose interest, an inconspicuous trade listing information when something suddenly caught his eye. And seller Lu Xiao by item withered mysterious seeds, x10. His eyes lit up instantly, and worthless junk to everyone else. 10 units of wood would make any other lord went, and to him, it wasn't even a drop in the bucket. At a moment when everyone was grinding levels and fighting over gear, who'd waste resources on a pile of junk seeds that might grow into nothing? And without hesitation, Lu Qinghao hit buy. Lu Xiao buy now, and that's what Lu Qinghao called generous, bro. After all, Lu Qinghao was about to close the marketplace when a faint blue glow snagged his attention, and the featured section, a single item, shimmering blue, refined quality. And this was a full tier higher refined after going through the mutation of his Hongming Spirit Field. And what kind of monster would it grow? Seller suing item seed of the Tree of Life. 1. In quality refined, asking copper coins times 50. Right now, everyone was still bartering, and most of them not even understanding what copper coins were for. This woman had something going for her, and she'd already seen through to the future value of copper coins. Sure enough, the comment section had become a full-blown simp fest, and the goddess has a refined seed. If not, Lu Qinghao will go chop more. And that one line shut everybody down. The goddess's treasure is way out of their league, and everyone was groaning, convinced the item would go unsold because the price was too steep. Copper coins times 50 spent, and obtained seed of the Tree of Life. It sold in under a minute, and which big spender whale pulled that off? Lu Qinghao tucked the seed away, pleased as could be, and short and to the point. After sending it, Lu Qinghao tuned out all the noise from the outside world, and behind him, Ellie's small hands were still gently kneading his shoulders. Lu Qinghao stood up and gave her cool, faintly blushing snow-white cheek a pinch, and let's plant something more interesting. Lu Qinghao pulled out the seed of the Tree of Life, the one Lu Qinghao would spend a fortune on, from his bag. Lu Qinghao took a deep breath and solemnly planted the seed in the center of the spirit field. Their little mouths dropped into perfect O shapes. And master, what is that? Premium quality seed of the tree of life detected, and estimated time to maturity. When Lu Qinghao had mutated that elf lully earlier, the whole thing had taken maybe 10 seconds. Lu Qinghao turned to look at the four pink-haired Lolas who had just woken up, their snow-white little feet bare, wide-eyed with curiosity. The light was so pretty, and Lu Qinghao gave them a mysterious little smile and pulled out another bag of seeds. These seeds are all dried up, and there's not a trace of life in them. Puzzled as they were, they obeyed their master without question. Not as dazzling as the tree of life seed, but brilliant all the same, and the four Lus were completely stunned, their big emerald eyes filled with disbelief. Divine mutation successful, obtained special fruit, night vision fruit X1, and divine mutation successful, obtained special item, confusion pollen, X3, glowing moss for lighting, a night vision fruit that granted 6 hours of night vision when eaten. In confusion pollen, he could throw to send enemies into disarray. Master can even bring dead seeds back to life, and Master is an all-powerful god. A burst of raw energy erupted, and a peculiar sapling broke through the soil, and at its very top bloomed a softly glowing antique-looking ring. Lu Qinghao reached out and plucked it, and mana regeneration plus 10%. Whether it was Moonlight Bolt or her healing spells, everything she cast drained mana, and this ring would be worth far more in her hands than in his. Surprise flickered in her eyes, but then she shook her head. And Master, this is too precious. He burned through mana faster than Lu Qinghao do, and it'll actually get put to good use with he. But seeing that Lu Qinghao wouldn't budge, she carefully accepted it and slipped it onto her slender finger, and a cool wave surged through her body. Aaron won't let his kindness go to waste, and Master is so good to big sister Aaron. After sweeping up all the drops into his storage vault, Lu Qinghao leaned back into his chair content and gazed out at the patch of earth still radiating a green glow. Now and then Lu Qinghao would open the chat channel watching that pack of fools still being led around by the nose by Xiao donate their last worldly possessions for the future of humanity. At the center of the spirit field within the deep green radiance, the sacred silhouette was slowly taking shape, and a vast surging aura of life freshened the very air across his entire domain. Of course, it's powerful, and Lu Qinghao smiled and gave her smooth cheek another pinch. The seed of the tree of life has completed its divine mutation, and the pillar of green light surging into the sky exploded tenfold brighter. Its trunk was ancient and vigorous, as though it held within it endless ages, and every single leaf was crystalline and translucent, the light of life flowing through them. Lu Qinghao blinked, then broke into wild joy, and a tap of his finger and its stats appeared, permanently rooted in the Primordial Spirit Field, and Effect 2, Field of Life. Assessment: a miracle of life born from primordial spiritual energy, possessing the power to raise the dead and regrow flesh upon bone. And Lu Qinghao had figured it would be legendary at best. A fist-sized fruit condensed into being, and snow white all over, wreathed in pale mist, its fragrance sweet and clear, warm and smooth as heated jade, and holy fruit of life. Lu Qinghao stared at the fruit, and the first image that surfaced in his mind was the queen on the light screen, and her face deathly pale from the torment of her curse. The moment that thought took shape, Lu Qinghao snuffed it out, and an ordinary man commits no crime, but holding a jewel makes him a target. But what about the entire Morningstar continent, and those empires with thousand-year legacies, those powers that towered over the world? The most likely scenario was that they'd wipe out everyone, and everything in one clean sweep. Even if Lu Qinghao handed it over, it would only be enough to buy him second-tier marquis status, and not the Grand Prince prize at the top. The time to make his move is when Lu Qinghao is truly on solid ground, and when Lu Qinghao have the strength to hold on to all of this. Once Lu Qinghao had thought it through, his mind cleared, and carefully, Lu Qinghao tucked the holy fruit into the deepest corner of his elven storage locker. A smug look plastered across his face, and he glanced at the chat channel where people were still singing his praises and sneered. Once his baby's ready, Lu Qinghao will show he all what real domination looks like. In Tier 2 alchemical golem, nearly 3 meters tall, gleaming with cold metallic sheen, plated in heavy armor, and its joints fitted with vicious ramming spikes. Haraha perfect 400 HP, and completely outclassing that Tier 2 elite alpha wolf from yesterday. Lu Qinghao is taking it all back today, and without hesitation, he dropped a screenshot of the stats into the chat channel, adding Xiao. This is the fruit of all their hard work together, and the channel exploded instantly. A true S-rank alchemist, and no doubt about it. Brother Xiao Tian is their real hope. And while some guy named Lu is still patting himself on the back for killing one elite, their brother has already built a domination tier war machine. Xiao Tian's ego swelled and he struck while the iron was hot. And Xiao, enough talk to boost their strength as fast as possible and ease Her Majesty the Queen's burdens. First dibs go to the brothers who backed him up today, and challenging a Tier 3 elite. Amid all the praise, a small, timid voice piped up. And, didn't Xiao say he was going to give up on leveling and work day and night on the antidote? Yeah, that's exactly what he said yesterday. And the resources he used to build that big guy, weren't those the ones they donated for his antidote research? The tide was about to turn again, and sweat instantly beaded on Xiao Tian's forehead. What do you people even understand? And Big Bro Xiao Tian is playing a long game here. Big Bro's skipping meals and sleep for the future of all mankind. And can he really stand to watch him work himself to death? Without leveling up, how's he going to beat the tough enemies? And without materials, how's he going to research the antidote? Lu Qinghao has got nothing to argue back. And Lu Qinghao wrongly blamed the big man. Lu Qinghao just walked past Xiaoan's place, and Lu Qinghao saw his little wooden cabin got upgraded to Tier 2. 2. An astronomical figure that would bankrupt any lord trying to gather it. And so, where did Xiao Tian get the resources? Those weren't the ones they donated, were they? And they tore down their own houses on empty stomachs and handed over everything they owned for his research. Even the most fanatical cheerleaders had gone quiet now just as Xiao Tian's savior image was about to shatter on the spot. And Wang Hao stepped up once again. How many times have Lu Qinghao said it? And here's the English translation with natural American phrasing. Conducting groundbreaking research that concerns the fate of all humanity. And that kind of work demands absolute peace and comfort. It's for them, for the Queen, for all mankind. And he's swallowing his pride, even willing to bear the insults and slander. This twisted black is white rhetoric left the crowd stunned into silence, and the more they thought about it, Lu Qinghao is going right now to chop more wood and make it up to him. And they were the small-minded ones that had almost gone off the rails, and Xiao Tian shot him an approving glance. Xiao Tian, the pure need no proof of their purity, and those who understand him need no explanation. Everyone, wait for his good news. And with that, he shut off the channel, took control of the golem, and marched valiantly into the gloomy forest. Something just feels off, and they tear down their own homes, starve ourselves, and let him live in a mansion. Truly one of a kind. And Master, what's so funny? Lu Qinghao answered offhandedly and switched off that toxic little channel. And Lu Qinghao was curious to see just what kind of grand move Xiaoan could cook up with all those swindled resources. Lu Qinghao stood up and stretched his limbs, in time to pull off something big. Behind him, the nearly 3 m tall, all-steel second-tier alchemical golem lumbered along with heavy steps. Yesterday, he'd been pinned to the ground and thrashed by that Frank farmer, beaten until his face swelled up. But today was different. Big deal, he sneered. And today, Lu Qinghao will show everyone what real power looks like. A howl far more savage than any ordinary demon wolves rang out from the hillside ahead. And Xiao Tian froze mid-step, not in fear, but in delight. It's for a deep gray, its eyes glowing with a bloodthirsty red, and it was locked onto them with a murderous stare. Level 3 HP 450, and skill Shadow Strike Corrosive Bite. It was a full tier stronger than the one Lu Qinghao had killed, and the perfect stepping stone. The wolf blurred into a streak of purple and vanished in an instant, and the next second, it reappeared behind the golem. Hara. He called that a scratch, and Xiao Tian relaxed completely. The golem spun around, its iron fist, big as a cauldron, whistling through the air before slamming into the wolf's flank. The wolf was fast, sure, but it couldn't so much as dent the golem's thick hide, while every one of the golem's punches ripped away a huge chunk of its health bar. Hera, Lu Qinghao leveled up, and Lu Qinghao is level 2 now. Xiao Tian made the list, and Xiao Tian level 2. There's no way an S-rank talent would stay quiet, and turns out he was saving up for a big move. The #1 bootlicker, Wang Hao, was so excited he could barely form sentences as if he'd been the one to kill the elite. And this is Xiao Tian's real power. Some people just got lucky with a few cheap tricks and grabbed an early lead, but against true power, they don't stand a chance. He glanced at the names sitting at the top of the leaderboard and let out a cold snort, and nothing but a fake number. This is the power of technology, Xiao Tian, and he cut some corners early on and got a little ahead. What really decides the future is the strength of his units, and two golems could tear he apart a 100 times over. Shaoshan, Lu Qinghao will give he one chance, and hand over every resource he earned yesterday. And Lu Qinghao will take he on as a lackey and let bygones be bygones. His brain-deaded fans instantly hit peak ecstasy, and Wang Hao Xiaotian's the man. Absolute classic at Lu Qinghao. And hurry up and come out to kneel and apologize. Would Lu Qinghe jump out and fire back or fold under the pressure, and that ID called Lu Qinghe never showed up? This complete and total disregard made Xiaoan feel like he'd thrown a punch into a pile of cotton, and all that force, nowhere to land. Wang Hao, see that? And he was so intimidated by Brother Xiao's overwhelming aura that he didn't dare say a word. Countless people flipped sides, rushing to praise Xiao Tian, the latecomer who'd surged ahead. And right on cue, Xiao Tian posted screenshots of his loot and item, Wolf King's Claw quality, excellent. Finished product, defense plus 20, agility plus 1, and the channel erupted even harder. Boss, need a hype man, and the kind that'll spam LFG all day long. But amid all the frenzy, a humble, hopeful voice piped up, and a lord named Jing cautiously at Daoyan. This morning, Lu Qinghao donated the last 200-plus units of timber and iron or Lu Qinghao had to he, and Lu Qinghao was wondering could he let him have that Wolf King's Claw. His tone was about as low and differential as it got. His brow furrowed, and a look of undisguised disgust flashed through his eyes. And give it to he? Xiao. Are he trying to tell him how to run things? And just those few words and the frenzied channel went dead silent. Didn't he say earlier that his supporters would get first priority, and Lu Qinghao Xian don't have brothers like he? During times like these, everyone should have to suffer a little, and only by concentrating the best resources in the hands of the most capable people can they maximize their value. Kicking Jonger straight out of the Brotherhood, and the poor guy was completely dumbfounded, unable to speak for the longest time. Not so he could come begging for handouts, and a selfish creep like he doesn't deserve to be Brother Xiao's brother. They gave their resources willingly and never expected anything in return, and get out of the newbie village, Zhang. This Xiao, how does he just go back on his word? And they gave him all their resources and went hungry ourselves, and he calls them selfish. On the other side of the forest, his team was pushing forward at an astonishing pace. And Master, 3 corrupted direwolves 100 meters ahead to the left. Take out the scouts first, Lu Qinghao ordered calmly, and Ellen didn't hesitate for even a second. In perfect unison, they drew their short bows and 4 sharp arrows flew from the strings. The whole thing was seamless, over in less than 3 seconds, and Lu Qinghao didn't even have to lift a finger. You're getting more and more in sync, and just as the team was about to press deeper, Ellen's expression suddenly turned grave. Come on, let's go take a look, and they softened their steps and crept quietly toward the valley. In the center of the valley, an enormous wild boar lay fast asleep, and standing over 4 m tall and nearly 8 m long, it looked like a small moving mountain. Level 5. HP, 1500. 500. Attack 50. Defense 45. Skills, Savage Charge, War Stomp, Rampage. A level 5 field boss. Master, it's too dangerous, and let's pull back for now. But the sheer pressure this boar king gave off was beyond anything they could handle, and Lu Qinghao gave a mysterious smile and patted her little head. Lu Qinghao ordered the 4 little girls, and Aaron, here the main attacker. As for him, a wicked grin curled at the corner of his mouth as Lu Qinghao leisurely pulled a pitch-black pumpkin from his pack, and its surface wreathed in dark red flames. The Hellfire Blast pumpkin, and his eyes locked onto the massive beast, slumbering peacefully in the center of the valley. His arm muscles bulged as Lu Qinghao hurled the pumpkin with all his might, and a dark red arc tore through the air, landing dead center on the boar's black, bristled forehead. A bright red damage number rose slowly from the center of the inferno, followed by burn damage ticking away like crazy, and 10 to 10, 10. His eyes lit up, and truly worthy of a twice mutated beast. Rampaging Tusk Boar King, and SHP has dropped below 80%. Its massive body blurred into a black streak, hurtling straight toward the hillside where Lu Qinghao stood, and Ellen and the 4 pink-haired little Lolas caught on instantly. Holy moonlight gathering furiously, and the silver shaft streaked through the air like a meteor. It let the arrow bury itself in its flesh and only let out a low grunt. And -1, 2, 16. Its defense was absolutely absurd, and holy crap, his pupils shrank. A semi-transparent crystal wall erupted from the earth, and the unstoppable charge crashed into it head-on. Going toe-to-toe was a death sentence, and this was a war of attrition. The four little Lola rotated positions, peppering its joints and eyes from the trickiest angles, and each hit only chipped off a little HP, but it added up. One of the Lolas couldn't dodge in time, and a -25 popped up over her head. The little Loli gulped it down, and her health bar refilled. They burned through all 5 potions before the Boar King's health bar finally hit rock bottom, and panting, it staggered to a halt, arrows bristling from every inch of its body. The silver arrow punched straight through its skull, and with one final resentful roar, the massive body crashed to the ground. Hero Moon Elf Irene has advanced to level 3, and Unit Pink Fur Elf Archer has advanced to level 4. But that wasn't all, and a pillar of golden light, brighter than any announcement before it, descended from the heavens, engulfing the entire novice village. An unparalleled feat that strikes awe into all races and rewards. Epic Treasure Chest X1, Copper Coins, X1, 0, all attributes +10, Morningstar Empire Reputation +1000, tens of billions of lords, dragon natives, and foreigners alike. Whether exploring the forests or cowering in their wooden huts, all stopped what they were doing and looked up, dumbstruck at that golden announcement stretching. Who the hell is Lu Qinghao? And some dragons saw big shot. A dragon guy got first kill on a level 5 boss, and the systems got to be glitching. This Lu Qinghao fellow is a terrifying man, and dig up everything about him. They had a General Lu in ancient times too, and in an instant, the 3 characters of Lu Qinghao swept across the entire continent like a storm. Even Goddess Suing, ranked 2nd, is only level 3, and that's a gap between heaven and earth. Need him to ship he some ice, and every single message landed like a ringing slap. All off resources he'd swindled vanished in an instant, and his face went ghost white, his lips trembling. That guy had killed a level 5 boss, and this wasn't a gap he could close with effort alone. Just as jealousy was swallowing him whole, his #1 sycophant Wang Hao slid into his DMs, and bro, Xiao Tian, don't sweat it. That sliver of light in the darkness snapped Xiao Tian back to his senses, and how could an F-rank farmer possibly take down a level 5 boss? The fire reigniting in his eyes, and real power comes down to unit types and tech. But building Tier 3 golems required a massive amount of rare resources, and swindling alone wouldn't cut it anymore. In the valley, the evening breeze was cool, and Lu Qinghao had no idea about the storms brewing outside and frankly couldn't be bothered. More magnificent and pure than any level up, and it felt so good. Lu Qinghao opened his stats panel, and Lord Luchua, level 5, Strength, 35, Agility, 27, Constitution, 28, Spirit, 32, Charisma, 30 piss. Ellen's cool little face was full of adoration, her ruby-like eyes sparkling with starlight, and a few little Lolas pounced on him like clingy pendants. Rampaging Boar King's Tusk X2 superior weapon material instantly upgrades a level 1 territory to level 2 upon use, and Lu Qinghao used it without hesitation. Finally, his gaze landed on the heaviest reward of them all, and the epic treasure chest, purple and gold from top to bottom, engraved with mysterious runes and shrouded in a violet mist. A brilliant purple light shot up into the sky, and as the glow faded, 3 items radiating supreme divine power hovered silently in midair. With a wave of his hand, Lu Qinghao led his lowly army in a grand procession back to the territory, and by the time they returned, the sky had gone completely dark. A quaint blueprint that seemed to flow with moonlight, and a long bow crafted from 1,000-year-old wood coiled with a swirling azure wind. Even Elaine, cool and aloof as the moon, showed a rare flicker of awe in those ruby-red eyes, and Lu Qinghao picked up the blueprint first. The well water provides extra nourishment for elves, and requirements: 100 each of wood, stone, iron, ore, and copper coins. This was a strategic tier building, and fighting down the wild surge of excitement. Attack +80, agility +10, rapid attack speed +20%. And windspeak arrows carry the power of wind with a chance to ignore part of the target's defense. This was practically made for Ellen, and Lu Qinghao tossed her the longbow. Her small hands trembled, not daring to reach out. And since when do he need to be so formal with him? Last was that scroll wrapped in golden light, and unit promotion scroll superior. Lu Qinghao just been worrying that his lowly legion's damage output was starting to fall behind, and all right, he's 6. Him, master, pick him. A beam of golden light enveloped her, and her body grew taller at a visible rate. Acquired elite pink-haired elven archer, ×1, level 4, and HP 350, attack 45. The newly promoted girl walked up to him and dropped to one knee. And thank ye, master, for granting him this rebirth. His territory had already leveled up to level 2, unlocking the warehouse and the barracks, and both were quite practical, but his gaze immediately drifted back to that Moonwell blueprint. Lu Qinghao opened the construction panel and consumes wood, stone, wood, iron, ore, and copper coins, 1,000 each, to build a moon. Everything else, just a hair short, and got to scourge up more resources, Lu Qinghao muttered. Rubbing his chin, stuff Lu Qinghao had gotten from planting seeds, and an idea clicked into place instantly. Night vision fruit, X×1 grants night vision for 6 hours after eating 100 wood or stone stock, and first come, first served. The second the listings went live, the chat channel exploded, and Lord Lu got new stuff again. 100 wood for 1. And Lu Qinghao already donated his entire fortune to the Great Xiaoan. A second later, he dropped an ecstatic battle report. And guys, Lu Qinghao is telling he the truth. The market went nuts in an instant, and in under 3 seconds, everything Lu Qinghao had listed was completely wiped out. Lu Qinghao watched the numbers on his resource panel skyrocket, grinning ear to ear, and the ones who missed out were beating their chests in the channel. A familiar ID popped up again, and bunch of idiots getting scammed by that Lu guy again. This time his words got instantly shot down, and Lu Qinghao is about to lose his life, and he want to talk about vision. At Wonga, you're just lapdog, aren't he? And as for this circus of clowns, Lu Qinghao just smiled faintly. In times of chaos, it's crystal clear, and he'll be laughing at the end. Countless logs, stones, and iron were slowly dissolved in the light, transforming into pure energy that assembled into an ancient, mysterious structure, and the little ones were mesmerized again. The surface veiled in a faint silver mist, and rare tier structure moon well successfully built. Everyone perked up, their exhaustion melting away, and a faint moonlit glow shimmered across the snow-white skin of Irene and the 6 elven maidens. Next, Lu Qinghao built a level 1 warehouse and a level 1 barracks, and 2 flashes of white lighting up one after another. Level up good for him, and the 2 little ones scampered down on their short little legs, then hand in hand, skipped and hopped their way into the barracks. The sky was growing dark, and a full moon climbed into the night sky, echoing the moon well below, casting down a cool, holy radiance. Time to get ready for bed, and the 4 little ones lined up and followed behind him, but then veered off toward that lush, thriving spirit field. The moonlight here, it feels so good, and it makes them all warm inside. Compared to a stuffy wooden cabin, they much preferred the company of plants, and of course, he can. They never get sick as long as there are plants around. And they cheered and each found a spot, and before long, they were breathing softly and evenly, watching them so utterly without. In a world riddled with danger, perhaps it was only within one's own territory that such a serene sight could be found, and Lu Qinghao didn't disturb them. By the moonwell, 5 pink-haired girls and the one who'd successfully advanced were splashing around barefoot, and their snow-white little feet pattering as they scooped up spring water and doused one another. Not too hard, not too soft, and the girl's body scent mingled with the crisp coolness of the well water. That familiar golden screen of light in the sky slowly unfolded without any warning, and the global live stream had begun again. The pink-haired little girls playing by the well, and Irene, who'd been massaging him, and every one of them instinctively lifted their snow-white little faces toward the sky. The Morningstar Queen. But this time her condition was far worse than the previous 2, and that flawless, beautiful face was now drained of all color. Those evil curse markings were no longer content to merely coil around her ankles, and they crept up along the queen's slender legs wrapped in that holy silver dress spreading ever higher. On the right side of the image, the blood-red countdown continued its merciless ticking, and 29 days, 17 hours, 33 minutes. How did his wife get worse again? And Abyss Lord, he deserved to die. They should be furious, not weeping. And this live stream acted like the most potent catalyst. Within the territory, Lu Qinghao leaned back in his chair, looking at the pitiable queen on the screen, his eyes without the slightest ripples, and master, Her Majesty, the queen, yeah. Lu Qinghao really want to go save her. And a pink-haired girl by the well chimed in. Lu Qinghao glanced at the sacred fruit of life in the storage locker, wreathed in white mist, his eyes deep and unreadable. He carries rare blueprints, mysterious items, and special building materials from another world, waiting only for the fated one to find him. And reminder, the goblin merchant is timid and cowardly. This announcement dropped like a heavy bomb, completely detonating the already boiling channel, and their chance to strike it rich is here. Find the goblin merchant and rise to the top of his life. Countless people scrambled and tumbled out of their little cabins, plunging headlong into the vast primeval forest, and whoever found the goblin merchant first would rocket straight to the top. His chance is here. And when it came to grinding mobs and leveling up, he'd been utterly crushed by that guy surnamed Lou. As long as he could get his hands on a high-tier alchemy blueprint from the merchant and build Tier 3, Tier 4, Tier 5 war machines, then nobody like Lu Chang'e, he could. Xiao Tian took a deep breath, put on a righteous, noble face, and opened the chat channel, and the moment he spoke, he had everyone's attention. The items in his hands could very well be the key to the Queen's antidote, and every brother who supported him, every comrade who yearns to save the Queen, let's unite. We'll definitely beat everyone else to it. And Lu Qinghao swear the moment they find that merchant, every blueprint and item goes toward the Queen's antidote first. What noble, selfless devotion, and Xiao, here a man of honor. For the Queen, Lu Qinghao die 1,000 deaths, and Wang Hao, the #1 bootlicker, immediately leapt out to wave the flag and cheer. Let's show that selfish little worm who only cares about leveling himself up what real collective power looks like. And countless deceived lords were stirred up once again. Their clothes were tattered, their gear worn and beaten, but their eyes burned with fervor. For the Queen, for glory, and over 500 people, led by their commander-in-chief, Xiaoan, surged into the forest in a mighty procession. The instant anyone spotted the merchant, he'd be the first to hear about it. And with the convenience of being commander-in-chief, he'd rush over ahead of everyone. Inside his territory, Lu Qinghao leaned back in his chair, watching that crowd in the channel. No, he's no idiot, Lu Qinghao said, shaking his head, his tone flat, and he's a bad seat. It was nothing more than exploiting the information gap and his leader's halo using ordinary lords as free labor, too, and he'd find the merchant on his own. So, they're not going to look for the goblin merchant. And Ellen tilted her little head. A total waste of time, and instead of gambling their fate on luck, they'd be better off killing a few more elite monsters and leveling up. A rare flicker of worry crossed Ellen's face, and Lu Qinghao let out a soft sigh. Their odds of finding it are way better than ours, and looks like this round that clown's going to beat them to it. She whipped her head around like a weary leopard, staring at a dense thicket to the right of the territory. The bushes shook violently, and a creature poked half its head out, less than a meter tall with disgusting green skin and long, pointed ears. It's a miracle, it muttered, and dazed, its eyes brimming with greed and awe, so lost that it hadn't even realized it had already given itself away. But the mysterious NPC the entire village was frantically hunting for had just delivered itself to his doorstep. And the result, Lu Qinghao was lying comfortably at home enjoying a massage while this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity walked right up to him. And sometimes direction matters more than effort. He crept out of the bushes, and when he spotted Aaron and him, a flicker of weariness passed through his murky little eyes. He rubbed his two grimy little hands together, letting out a pig-like snicker, his lust-filled eyes roaming shamelessly over them, and Aaron's lovely face went cold in an instant, her eyes brimming with disgust. He hastily pulled his gaze back and pasted on a fawning smile. And Lu Qinghao is a mysterious merchant who wanders across all worlds. This guy was almost certainly drawn here by the 2 divine tier buildings in his territory. And if he've got good stuff, let's see it. A huge pile of treasures glittering in every color imaginable dazzled everyone's eyes, and when used, randomly summons a hero unit from the void to serve he. Building blueprint, elf workshop, and effect allows construction of an elf-exclusive workshop that produces weapons and armor unique to the elven race. His breath quickened just a fraction, and a hero summoning scroll, an elf workshop. But Lu Qinghao glanced at his wallet, and building the moon well, and the 2 basic structures had eaten up most of it. His lord, which once caught his eye, and let him tell an opportunity like this doesn't come twice. Judd froze for a second, then broke into pure ecstasy, but Lu Qinghao don't have enough copper, Lu Qinghao added. Changing his tone, Lu Qinghao cut him off, and Lu Qinghao can trade something else. But the moment his eyes landed on those 2 items, those shifty little eyes went wide as saucers. He was trembling with excitement. And honorable lord, how do you possess treasures like these? Judd didn't hesitate for a second. But then those greedy eyes rolled and he let out a slightly chuckle. And although Lu Qinghao run an honest business, fair and square. Sounds fair, doesn't it? And jacking up the price on the spot, just like a swindler. Lu Qinghao traded over the 1,000 copper and the items, and a man of action, his lord. Lu Qinghao will take these two as well, and Judd stroked his chin, feigning reluctance. Now these are the crown jewels of his collection, especially this scroll. And if it summons a legendary tier hero, he'll rise straight to the top, asking for the moon, and he was treating him like a fat sheep, ready for the slaughter. Lu Qinghao traded over every last one of his remaining night vision fruits and bewildering pollen, and Judd stared at the pile of rare items in his pack, grinning ear to ear. You're the most generous customer Lu Qinghao has ever had. And then as he spoke, he swiftly and nimbly. She caught on instantly, and the moment Jad shouldered his pack and pulled out a random teleport scroll about to tear it open, a terrifying number exploded above his head, and Jad stiffened all over and looked down in disbelief at the sized hole gaping in his chest. The crimson fong in his hand became a bolt of blood-red lightning, and the razor-sharp dagger swept cleanly across his fragile throat. His stunted little body slowly toppled over, life draining away fast, and in the last second before he vanished completely, clatter clatter. At the very top of the loot pile sat a worn old coin pouch, giving off a faint golden glow, and he had successfully slain the goblin merchant, his face not betraying the slightest ripple and trying to scam him. Item: Goblin's greedy coin pouch, and quality rare effect automatically produces 100 copper coins per day. Erin's cool little face was full of admiration, and just moments ago, she'd been fuming over getting cheated out of their resources. 3 pieces of fine equipment, a hero scroll, a workshop blueprint, plus every item and coin Lu Qinghao had traded away, all accounted for. The dagger Lu Qinghao kept for himself, and Lu Qinghao still needed a decent offhand weapon. Just then, the familiar voice of heaven suddenly boomed over the newbie village, and newbie village number 10000086 announcement. His gaze fell on the hero summoning scroll, and Erin was strong, but there was only one of her. Lu Qinghao breathed on his palm and used it right away, and a brilliant golden light shot up into the sky, and an intricate magic circle slowly materialized in the center of his territory. But the most eye-catching feature was the pair of fluffy snow-white cat ears twitching slightly on top of her head. She strode forward on those long legs, moving with an elegant cat-like gait, then did something completely unexpected. So, are he his master? And off to the side, Erin, bold and fiery, the complete opposite of the quiet, shy Erin, and Lu Qinghao opened up her stats panel. Level 1, HP 350, and skills, Backstab Shadow Strike. Lu Qinghao nodded with satisfaction, and an A rank, no doubt about it. His little squad of girls needed a proper place to forge their gear, but when Lu Qinghao opened the build menu, Lu Qinghao frowned slightly. Not a single seller, and guess Lu Qinghao can't build it yet. With sheer numbers on his side, finding that slimy little creature was just a matter of time. The merchant is dead, and he hadn't even found it yet. The 500-plus lords still slaving away at their search below were all stunned, frozen stiff like statues, and they busted their asses all this time just to collect a corpse. Which bastard killed the merchant? And Lu Qinghao has got his pants down, and this is what he show him. Where's the glory now? And 500 people chasing after nothing. 500 people deployed, and he couldn't find a single hair. And not just that. The NPC straight up died. Lu Qinghao told he all stick with Xiao Tian and he'll starve 9 meals in 3 days. They chopped that wood so he could show off at Xiao Tian at Wang, and in an instant, the crowd was in an uproar. The territory fell into complete silence, and bright moonlight spilled through the window and washed over his face. Tonight, Lu Qinghao slept like a rock, and when the morning sun poured into the Lord's cabin, Lu Qinghao opened his eyes. A faint silver mist now hovered above its mouth, and he obtained Moonring Water X1. A wave of coolness rushed through his mind, sweeping away every trace of exhaustion, and 6 elf girls gathered around and chimed in together. Lu Qinghao is still missing one thing, moonlight wood. And the group stepped once more into the shadowy forest, catching even the slightest movement, and Master, 300 m ahead on the left. Let's take a look, and everyone softened their steps and crept forward. Elaine and Yao Yao flanked it left and right, closing in silently like top-tier hunters. 6 HP, 1,200 ATK. 20 death, 100 skills. Physical immunity, corrosive spit toxic slime. Lu Qinghao raised an eyebrow. 100 points of defense plus physical immunity. If it landed on he, it had melt his gear right off. And wind whispered longbow. The arrow buried itself into that jiggly body, and the slime shrieked in pain. The battle that followed became Irene's solo performance. His heavy strike and war stomp were all physical damage too, so they were nullified just the same, and when its health dropped to a third, Yao Yao suddenly spoke up. Yao Yao really wants to suck him dry, and she flicked her pink tongue across her lips, her eyes brimming with hunger. Physical immunity doesn't mean energy immunity, does it? And please let Yao Yao take the field. The next second, she'd appeared silently behind the slime, and her dagger glowing with an eerie dark purple light plunged viciously into that jiggly body. But she wasn't done, and let Yao Yao sucky dry. The slime shriveled up before everyone's eyes, and meanwhile, a satisfied flush spread across Yao Yao's alluring face. A golden glow of a level up flared to life, and successfully slew level 6 elite corrosion slime. Yo Yao gave a satisfied burp, and Yao Yao even leveled up. The twitching cat ears felt amazingly good under his hand, and Lu Qinghao walked over to the shriveled corpse and started looting. It was a peculiar piece of timber giving off a faint silver glow, warm and smooth to the touch with a strange refreshing fragrance. Come on, let's keep moving. And from then on, the entire forest became his hunting ground. Looks like only elites and above drop it, and that was his conclusion. Master the cave 300 m ahead, and the energy readings are way stronger than that last one. Instead of being alarmed, Lu Qinghao grinned, and let's go check it out. Lu Qinghao poked his head in for a look, and his pupils shrank, and inside was a massive cavern. Pink heart-shaped bubbles floated all around it, eerie and seductive, and above its head, a line of blood-red text declared its terrifying identity. The queen had spotted them, and her jelly-like body quivered, and a pink heart came diving straight down at his head. Its attack having failed, the queen seemed enraged, and her body gave a violent shudder and a dozen sticky. Lu Qinghao gave the order without flinching, and a silver moonlight arrow and a shadowy purple backstab slammed into the queen almost simultaneously. Self, regeneration plus 150, and half the HP they just chipped away came right back. Yo-Yo melted into a shadow, ready to pull off her old trick, but the instant she closed in, a pink cage dropped out of nowhere, trapping her tight, dead center in the queen's body, and a faint pink core flickered in and out of view. A silver arrow, blindingly brilliant, pierced clean through the core in an instant, and the terrifying damage number floated slowly up from above the queen's head. Her massive body convulsed violently, and her healing skill was brutally interrupted, and now was their chance. That was exactly what made them so deadly, and -100. 10 minutes later, a bitter, unwilling wail echoed through the cavern, and the enormous pink jelly burst apart with a thunderous roar, dissolving into a shower of light. Hero catgirl assassin Yo-Yo has risen to level 3, and elite pink-haired elf archer has risen to level 5. His eyes locked immediately onto those few pieces of wood radiating a soft, pure moonlight. The entire chat channel went dead silent in an instant, and all those lords who'd been trashing Xiao Tian. Are he even human? And daddy, here is one and only daddy at Xiao. He just killed a level 7 boss. And what have he done? Combined with the piece Lu Qinghao already had, that made 9 total, and Lu Qinghao was just one piece away from being able to build the elf workshop. This would definitely come in handy down the line, and the boss had also dropped a fine mage robe and a rare skill book. As for the skill book, Lu Qinghao learned it right away, and his charisma attribute now exerts a faint intimidation and attraction over units of the opposite sex. A private message popped up, and the ID was none other than that ice-cold beauty sitting firmly at second place on the level rankings. Lu Qinghao raised an eyebrow, and this woman was even sharper than Lu Qinghao would thought. In exchange, the next second, she sent a screenshot and a branch from an ancient tree, branch of the elven ancient tree, and contains the most primal life force of the elven race. A permanent +2 agility boost, and the other side went completely silent for a full half-minute. Looking at that little branch in his inventory radiating such immense life energy, Lu Qinghao could barely keep the grin off his face. And master, are they heading back now? They still need one last piece of moonwood. And come on, let's clear this dungeon completely. Yao Yao wrinkled her little nose, and soon, a much wider underground chamber opened up before them, guarding it like loyal sentinels. And venomous slime elite LV. 6 HP, 1,500 skills. Instead of worried, Lu Qinghao was thrilled, and Aaron Yao Yao won each. The moment that deep purple venomous slime laid eyes on him, and its jiggly body gave a violent shudder, and a little pink heart popped up above its head. Silver arrows woven from moonlight rained down like a reaper's scythe. Lu Qinghao returned home with a full haul, and back at his territory, Lu Qinghao didn't even stop to rest. A soft emerald glow flared to life beside the moon well, and countless pieces of lumber, iron ore, and moonwood snapped together at lightning speed within the green light. Elven workshop rare crafts, weapons, armor, and items exclusive to the elven race. Lu Qinghao handed everything to those 5 pink-haired little Liz who hadn't been promoted yet, and in the blink of an eye, 5 fully armed elven archers stood before him. A shaft of green light, even more dazzling than the world tree seed, shot straight into the sky, and the entire spirit field trembled violently, and elven ancient tree branch detected. Lu Qinghao wasn't the least bit impatient, and if anything, Lu Qinghao was thrilled. Divine tier buildings, heroes, an army, logistical workshops, all of it right here. And before long, Lu Qinghao would be building a kingdom truly his own on this danger continent. Sure enough, it was nothing but a full-scale roast of Xiao Tian. And at Xiaoan, he liar. What the hell were he doing? And Lu Qinghao tore down his own house to donate the lumber, and Lu Qinghao froze his ass off all night. They didn't dare so much as blow a bubble, and listening to all their wailing, Lu Qinghao just gave a faint smile. Buy into someone else's empty promises, and in the end, it's his own stomach that goes hungry. Newly upgraded from pop guns to cannons, his pink-haired legion saw its combat powers skyrocket by a whole levels higher. His experience bar shot up like a rocket, and he have reached level 7. Branch of the Elven Ancient Tree has completed its divine mutation, and a pillar of green life energy erupted skyward, suddenly surging a 100-fold. Its entire body was formed from moonstone and ancient living wood, breathing slowly as if it were alive. Upgradable building level 1. And effect 1. Elven Mother Nest. Greatly increases the growth, speed, and mutation rate of plants within the territory. And effect 3. Nature Shelter. Unique mythic tier. And it could recruit units, too. And his heart was pounding. Skilled in scouting and assassination, and this time, Lu Qinghao was really rich. With this, Lu Qinghao finally had the capital to contend for this entire continent, and without a moment's hesitation, Lu Qinghao dumped every last copper coin Lu Qinghao had into it. Within the cocoons, faint outlines of tall, live, and agile figures could be seen, slowly gestating, and master. This is Ellen and Yao Yao were both stunned, their beautiful eyes filled with awe. 5 elf maidens appeared without a sound, each nearly 5'7", clad in form-fitting silver armor, wielding elegant yet deadly crescent blades. They greet their master, and their voices rang out sharp and clear, carrying a soldier's iron-blooded ferocity. 1 HP, 480, 55 skills, crescent strike, stealth, and archers, assassins, melee sentinels. From this day forward, here the starting point of his conquest of this continent, and Elaine, at his command, this Moonlight Sentinel squad is yours to lead. Elaine will serve her master to the death, and these 5 new sentinels had incredibly high base stats. Can't play favorites, Lu Qinghao murmured, rubbing his chin as Lu Qinghao turned his gaze toward the elf workshop, and time to hand out some perks to the new hires. Now, it didn't take long to find the Moonlight Sentinel signature gear blueprint. And their weapons need to keep up, too, and Lu Qinghao brought up the Crescent Blade Enhancement Blueprint. Plus 15 ATK adds poison effect materials, and Elite Wolf Fong x2 Slime Slobber x5 copper coins, x50 another 250 copper for all 5. Lu Qinghao dumped the mountains of materials piled up in his warehouse straight into the elven workshop, and the workshop erupted in a brilliant green glow. All right, everyone, come here, and Lu Qinghao clapped his hands. Black hardened leather set with silver metal plates hugging their figures tight, and the poison-forged moons in their hands flashed with a ghostly green light. 5 figures dropped to one knee, their voices thick with fervor, and wailing really is the fastest way to power up. Back to square one overnight, and Lu Qinghao clicked his tongue, but Lu Qinghao wasn't bothered. Night fell and a full moon hung high in the sky, and Moon's blessing is now active. Everyone get some rest, Lu Qinghao said with a smile. And tomorrow, there's something even more important to take care of. Lu Qinghao pushed the door open, and the scent of fresh grass and earth washed over him. and the elven ancient tree gave off a soft glow. 6 pink-haired little lawless, plus the 5 moonlight sentinels, were all clutching their stomachs and staring at him with pleading eyes, and even Aaron and Yaoya behind them had flushed cheeks and lowered heads. They fought all day yesterday, and their energies totally drained. Lu Qinghao would been so busy recruiting and re-equipping everyone that Lu Qinghao would completely forgotten about food, and 13 elves plus him. Aaron, Yaoya, take them and grill this up, and it'll tide everyone over for now. Watching them wolf it down, Lu Qinghao shook his head with a grin, and hunting alone couldn't feed this whole crew. The mission, sweep this forest clean. And they roared in unison. Irene, an S-rank hero, and Yaoya, an A-rank hero. Yet beneath those delicate looks hid terrifying combat power, and Master 300 meters ahead to the left, a wolf den. Irene, Lu Qinghao couldn't be bothered to say more, and confidence was written all over her cold, gorgeous face. By the time Lu Qinghao strolled up with the main force, the fight was already over. Over the next few hours, a one-sided massacre played out along the forest's edge, and his legion was like the most efficient lawnmower ever built. The haul was massive, and wolf pelt x15 wolf meat x80 copper coins x215 common apple seed x5 common tomato seed x8. Lu Qinghao would swept the whole morning, covering a dozen or so column, and hadn't even gained half a level. And to level up fast, Lu Qinghao would have to go deeper. It's not a monster, and it's not a beast, either. And Irene's voice sounded in his ear. A clearing covered in crystals came into view, and in the center, a creature the size of a water buffalo. Crystal pangolin beast special level, 8 HP, 2,500 attack, 45 defense, 200 in skills. Crystal armor, spike charge, earth shatter. His arrows can't pierce it, and let Yaoya suck it dry. Slowly, Lu Qinghao reached into his pack and pulled out a dark red pumpkin, and its surface veined with cracks that glowed like molten lava. Lu Qinghao whipped his arm forward, and the pumpkin traced a perfect arc and slammed right into its back. Lu Qinghao twisted aside to dodge, barking the order, and every creature has its softest weakness on the underbelly. After burning through 3 blast pumpkins, collapsed with a wail and shattered into glittering shards across the ground, and he have slain the level 8 special monster crystal pangolin beast. Lu Qinghao reached out and grabbed it, and Heart of the Earth effect. Back at the territory, Lu Qinghao didn't even stop to rest, and Lu Qinghao made a beeline for the territory core monument at the center and slammed the Heart of the Earth onto it. The entire territory shook violently like an earth dragon rolling over beneath them, and territory level increased to level 3. Lu Qinghao stared in awe, and the territory's borders seemed to be shoved outward by invisible giant hands, expanding wildly. It's so big now. And a little lowly threw her arms wide and spun in circles on the grass. Lu Qinghao burst out laughing, and let him show he all what a real bumper harvest looks like. A fiery red vine burst from the soil, rapidly bearing a single apple that blazed like living flame, and blazing apple times 1 permanent plus 1 strength when consumed. A warm current surged through her limbs, and her strength ticked up another notch, and Lu Qinghao didn't stop there. Swift stride sandals x1 plus 5% movement speed, and stat fruits, healing potions, speed boots. By the 13th seed, outspouted a small leather armor woven from vines and beast hide, and Lu Qinghao tossed it to the elite archer. They felt noticeably warmer, smoother to the touch, and now for the grand finale. It was a seductive shade of pink, more dazzling than every glow before it combined, and the girl stared, mesmerized. Reading the name, Lu Qinghao nearly choked on his own blood, and that name was way too suggestive. Effect 1 automatically produces 10 juicy peaches daily, and Effect 2, when consumed by elves, grants a sweet state, temporary plus 5% to all stats for 1 hour. Now, this was the good stuff, and a strategic miracle tree, practically custom-made for his elf legion. Lu Qinghao turned to find the girls locked onto the peach in his hand, practically drooling down their chins, and that hungry kitten look was almost illegal in its cuteness. Yaoya was the first to give in, taking a huge bite, and the rest quickly followed suit, chomping away with gusto. The second juicy peach tree shot up from the ground, and, yes, now they'll have more peaches than they can eat every single day. 2 trees, 20 peaches a day. And not only did this solve their food problem, but it also meant his crew of spirits could slowly grow stronger through nourishment. But once Lu Qinghao would recruited a 100 spirits, 1,000 spirits, would it still be enough? and food would be the first and biggest bottleneck holding back his army. Over the past few days, the shelves had filled up quite a bit, mostly basic resources and common gear with the occasional oddity thrown in, and his goal was clear. Asking price 1 unit of wolf meat, and note, his talent is frank seed appraisal. Just trade him some meat, and oh, so there's a talent like that. Without hesitation, Lu Qinghao hit trade. And damn, that was quick, bro. Lu Qinghao is the kind of man who can grow himself a wife, and Lu Qinghao kept sweeping through. Could be divine seeds, and all he gambling degenerates, get over here. Those 3 superior quality ones, especially a pleasant surprise, and with a sweep of his hand, Lu Qinghao snatched up every seed listed on the market. Regardless of quality, Lu Qinghao was going to raise the price, and Lu Chengxiao Dalo. That plot of his is like a bottomless pit, and he's a farmer. That scammer Xiao Tian had burned everyone bad, and nobody trusted anything anymore, and the channel had gone pretty quiet. Behind them, a dozen elf girls watched with eager eyes, like they were waiting for a surprise, and Lu Qinghao gave a mysterious smile. At his command, the girls cheered and transformed into busy little bees, following him to that vast primordial spirit field. And Master, let him plant this one. Once placed, provides 30 minutes of vision over that area. And whoa, it's an eye. Lu Qinghao nodded, motioning for them to keep going, and the 20-something common seeds were used up fast, and the harvest was all over the map. Hot beans that gave a huge jump boost, and not exactly earth-shattering divine artifacts, but the effects were unusual and full of fun. Now for the main event, and Lu Qinghao took a deep breath and buried the seeds right in the center of the spirit field with his own hands. The shaking subsided, but the scene of a plant breaking through the soil never came, and instead, a massive crack slowly split open across the ground. Superior quality seed detected, and triggered a 1 in 10,000 probability, generating a secondary divine mutation. Lu Qinghao was a little stunned by this, out-of-nowhere surprise, and immediately pulled up the stats. And building luminous, or vein. This wasn't just a mineral vein, and it was a super his that combined lighting, production, and agricultural buffs all in one. Bright as day around the clock, and talk about peace of mind. He now will never be scared of the dark at night, and the little Lolas crowded around the cave entrance, poking their heads in and cheering. One pink-haired little Loli plucked a peach and couldn't wait, and she bit right in, and the juice exploded all over her face. Bathed in the glow of the luminescence, the entire territory brimmed with life like a paradise cut off from the world. When darkness falls, and the monsters come, what do? And Lu Qinghao has only got one ordinary soldier by his side. Anyone got any lighting gear, and torches, oil lamps, anything. Lu Qinghao tore down the wood from his house, and now Lu Qinghao is freezing his butt off like a beggar. The global broadcast opened for the 4th time, and His Majesty the Queen, that breathtakingly beautiful figure, the one that haunted the dreams of tens of billions of men worldwide, appeared once again, and the Morningstar Queen, her condition was even worse than last time. They had now spread onto the snow-white, delicate shoulders and slender arms wrapped in her holy silver gown, and on the right side of the image, a blood-red countdown ticked away mercilessly. How the hell did his wife's black stockings level up again? An Abyss Lord, Lu Qinghao ordered he to drop dead right now, before anyone could snap out of it. The cold, boundless voice of the heavenly Tao suddenly thundered through the minds of every single lord. In global announcement affected by the abyssal withering curse, eternal night is coming, and a full day of nothing but night. Does anyone have a lighting item? And Lu Qinghao will trade everything Lu Qinghao owned for it. Despair spread through every lord's heart like a plague, and the previous 12 hours of darkness had left them a sliver of hope. A little pink-haired lowly, pink juice still smeared at the corner of her mouth, ran over, her big eyes brimming with curiosity. And yeah, why is everyone crying? Lu Qinghao smiled and pinched their soft, rosy cheeks, and Lu Qinghao glanced at the glowing his cave in the center of his territory. Just then, Lu Qinghao spotted a familiar ID in the channel, and this guy who'd been chewed out mercilessly and gone into hiding for 2 days had actually crawled back out. Every line dripping with exhaustion, harassedness, and regret, and Xiaoan. Lu Qinghao couldn't face any of he these past 2 days. Lu Qinghao is not even human, and for 2 days, Lu Qinghao haven't slept a wink. Eternal night is an extension of the abyssal withering curse, and Lu Qinghao might have a way to create a faint text cuts off. Then a sudden pivot, dangling the hope of saving everyone. And sure enough, some of the more naive lords, the ones drowning in despair, were instantly moved. He just made one mistake to err, and then make it right, and they're willing to trust he one more time. His man Xiao Tian would never be selfish, and he hasn't slept for 2 days and 2 nights because of them. The tide turned once again, and Xiaoan seized the moment and delivered the final blow in an even weaker voice. Lu Qinghao will go into the forest and find them himself. And even if Lu Qinghao die, Lu Qinghao will die on the path of searching for light for humanity. Here an S-rank alchemist. And if anyone's going, it should be them. The crowd was in an uproar, and countless lords, their heads clouded by fear and hope, once again, handed over the last of their possessions to Xiao Tian without holding anything back. Same trick works twice. And he shoved a piece of sizzling, dripping meat into his mouth, his eyes full of contempt. He dumped every bit of it straight into the alchemy table, and from start to finish, he had only one goal: build it for him. And the final day of the newbie protection period, that fine-quality luminescent vein shone like a little sun that never went out, radiating a soft glow day and night, lighting up the entire territory as bright as day. Their forms ghost-like as they drilled assassination moves across the clearing, and 6 pink-haired little Lolas practiced their archery. There, the wailing had already begun, and brothers, it's the last day. 24 hours of pure darkness, and how the hell are they supposed to survive that? Boss, how's the research on the Glimmer Runestone coming along at Xiao? And boss, give them a straight answer. At that very moment, in a certain level, 2 wooden cabin, Xiao Tian's eyes snapped open, bloodshot yet burning with an unprecedented fervor. Its arms were a pair of massive drills gleaming with cold light, and embedded in its chest was a faintly pulsing red mana crystal like a beating heart. And 3rd-tier alchemical golem. He'd gambled and he'd won. In unit 3rd-tier black iron golem level 3, health 800, 800, attack 60, defense 50, skills drill, thrust, war, stomp HSS. More terrifying than that level 5 Boar King, and Lu Qinghao got his first kill on Lu Qinghao. Lu Qinghao will show he what real despair tastes like, and he immediately dropped a screenshot of the stats into that channel. What kind of monster is that? And 800 HP, 60 attack, 50 defense. Boss spent 2 whole days cooking up this ultimate move, and Wang Ho was the first to jump out and rally the flag. One punch, and that lug guy's going to farmers knocked back to level 1. And Xiao delivered another cool, effortless jab. Lu Qinghao just keeps grinding away at his levels, and not an ounce of team spirit in that guy. You're all jumping around like a bunch of clowns. And he hasn't bothered to type a single word this whole time. And that is what he'd actually call vision, right? That was exactly what got under their skin the most. And no matter how they provoked, shouted, or belittled him, that man named Lu Qinghao never so much as acknowledged them. Sure, the golem's badass, but what's that got to do with them? And boss, they donated resources for he to research the Glimmer Runestone. No matter how powerful the golem was, it couldn't light up the darkness, and what they wanted was light. But Xiao Tian let out a cold laugh, his eyes darting and switched to a tone of anguished heartbreak, and everyone, calm down and hear him out. Lu Qinghao already had a breakthrough in his research, but the last core material, luminous or only drops in one brutally dangerous dungeon, the Black Wind Cavern. Lu Qinghao didn't build this golem for himself, and Lu Qinghao built it to clear the dungeon, to get the run stones for all of he so they can all survive tonight. Lu Qinghao totally misjudged he, boss, and he went through all that trouble for them. Xiaoan cleared his throat and made his final declaration, and Lu Qinghao won't waste any more words. Live streaming a dungeon run. And the boss is so confident, bold, and accountable, honest, and upstanding. Back in his territory, Lu Qinghao leaned back in his recliner and watched this whole self-directed farce play out. And Lu Qinghao almost laughed out loud. The guy's practically bulletproof, and Lu Qinghao shook his head, chuckling. Some people scheme their hearts out just to put on a show, never realizing that true power never needs an audience. And Xiao Tian is live, fighting for all humanity. Behind him loomed a 4-meter-tall tier 3 golem, standing like a temple guardian, radiating a bone-chilling sense of menace. And Lu Qinghao has arrived, he bellowed, pumping his fist. A dozen massive cave venom spiders darted out from the walls, spraying green venom, and those are level 2 elite mobs. The venom, potent enough to corrode solid rock, splashed against the black iron armor, without leaving so much as a scratch, only kicking up a shower of sparks. He suddenly lunged forward, the massive drill arm sweeping across, and -155, -162 one-shot kills. In under a minute, Every last one was slaughtered, and level increased to level 3. So, this is the power of an S-rank alchemist. And so all the resources Lu Qinghao donated weren't for nothing. He see that elite mobs in front of his big bro's iron torrent? This is just the beginning. And today, Lu Qinghao Xiaotian am claiming the first clear of this dungeon. He didn't even have to lift a finger, just trailed behind and scooped up the loot, and even Lu Qinghao, watching that golem plow through everything, felt a flicker of surprise. In front of his elite elf legion, a clunky thing like this was nothing more than a living target, and soon, Xiao Tian steamrolled his way to the deepest part of the cave. It was crouched down, feigning sleep, and above its head, a line of blood-red text. The chat grew tense, but Xiao Tian just laughed. And this is all it's got. It can't even break through, and this one's in the bag. The black iron golem lumbered forward with heavy steps, charging at the sleeping Wolf King like a siege beast, and the Wolf King snapped awake, its ghost fire eyes instantly locking onto the intruder. The next second, the Wolf King had ghosted around behind the golem, its cold, gleaming claws raking viciously at the fragile joint of its leg, and it broke through his defense. Same spot, same claw, and the battle had completely devolved into a farce. Why can't the golem hit it? And the speed gap is too huge. Xiao Tian screamed frantically, working the controls. And lo, Xiao Tian let out a blood-curdling scream, and the Wolf King's eyes, burning with ghostly fire, slowly turned toward the figure crumpled on the ground. Nearly 10,000 viewers just stared dumbfounded as their so-called savior, the one they'd pinned their hopes on, fled the cave like a whipped dog, sobbing and dripping with snot and tears. The chat channel fell dead silent for a full 30 seconds, and then like a bursting dam, it completely exploded. PF haha. Lu Qinghao is dying over here, and this is the great savior. Did he see the way he ran off pissing his pants? And whatever happened to the god descending from heaven? After the brief shock, an even more violent wave of emotions swept through the chat channel like a tsunami, and he's nothing but a scammer. Lu Qinghao actually thought he was fighting for them, and Lu Qinghao tore the wood right out of his house. By this point, even the biggest idiot had figured it out, and all that talk about serving the people, about being humanity's last hope. Outside the Black Wind Cave, Xiao Tian, who had barely escaped, leaned against a tree, panting violently, his face white as a sheet. He ground out the name through clenched teeth, pinning all his failures, and they pinned it all on that farmer. Brother Xiao, everyone's cursing them out, and what do they do now? He decided to burn every bridge, opened the channel, and fired off his final declaration, and a bunch of dumb pigs. Lu Qinghao was doing he a favor by taking it, and he want him to give it back? Lu Qinghao is living in a level 2 mansion, eating barbecue, having the time of his life. And he's shivering in the snow like a pack of dogs when the monsters attack tonight. Are he kidding him? And he's got the nerve to curse them out. Shaoshan, it's he or him, and Lu Qinghao won't rest till you're dead. Yao Yao, his cat-haired girl, lay draped across his lap, her snow-white cat ears twitching as she basked in his touch, her voice laced with a seductive lilt. This Xiaoan actually turned out to be useful. A puny newbie dungeon and piece of cake for him at Lu Qinghao. Don't hold his breath, and Lord Lu is a selfish farmer through and through. In an instant, countless people were tagging him, and some begged, some tried to go him, some tried to guilt-trip him. Master, are he going to help them? And Irene massaged his shoulders and asked softly. Yaya leaned in curiously, her snow-white cat ears twitching slightly. And, of course Lu Qinghao is going. Lu Qinghao nodded. And besides, Lu Qinghao actually am short on basic resources right now. And recruiting units, upgrading buildings, it all requires massive amounts of lumber, stone, and iron ore. But these desperate, starving lords right in front of him, aren't they the perfect free labor? The channel was still full of wailing and sobbing. Lu Qinghao will be back before dark. In 3 sentences, no promises, no guarantees, not even one extra punctuation mark. Lord Lu finally spoke, and he's telling them to gather resources and come back before dark. He want to talk about vision, and no hesitation, just gets it done. Show up late, and there won't even be scraps left for he. And in just a few seconds, the channel that had been dead silent moments ago instantly came roaring back to life. Chopping trees, mining ore, gathering supplies, and everyone threw themselves into the work with a drive they'd never felt before. Like a gambler who'd lost every last chip. And he pounded frantically at the battered tier, 3 golem in front of him. Here all useless. He cursed, fumbling desperately to repair it. but a shattered core crystal was beyond fixing. A private message came in from Wang Hao. And bro, that Lu Qinghao looks like he's about to take on the Black Wind Cave. He's digging his own grave, and even his golem, a tier 3 monster with insane stats, had been toyed to death by the Black Wind Wolf King. This was a golden opportunity, and he was going to watch the man who'd ground him under his heel die without so much as a grave to be buried in. His war machine had 50 defense, and even it got toyed to death by that beast. And Lu Qinghao would love to see what his god Lu is going to fight with. But this time he wasn't met with flattery or even doubt, and he was met with a tidal wave of curses. Who the hell do he think he are? And God Lu can take down a level 7 boss. Once the protection period ends, hear the enemy of the whole village, and get out of Rookie Village 100,086. At the entrance to the Black Wind Cave, Lu Qinghao would already arrived quietly, his elf legion at his side, and fragments of Xiao Tian's tear. Cold's little face was etched with gravity, and there's a foul stench. Lu Qinghao clapped his hands and grinned, and all right, let's get to work. Hands behind his back, and Lu Qinghao strolled leisurely to the rear of the group. 2 crisp replies brimming with fighting spirit, and the next instant, the catered girl Yao Yao turned into a black blur and slipped into the cave first, exactly like in Xiaoan's stream. But they didn't even get to spray their venom, and 5 silver flashes streaked through the darkness. 5 elite venom spiders didn't even have time to shriek before they collapsed into pulp, and the moonlight sentinels wove through like phantoms. That spider swarm, the one that had even given Xiao's tear, and 3 golem trouble was as fragile as lambs to the slaughter before his legion. Lu Qinghao smiled and gave her cheek a pinch, and the path deeper in was a one-sided massacre. The Black Wind Wolf King, the very one that had beaten Xiao Tian into a sniveling mess, was sprawled in front of a glowing vein of or licking its paws. It took these little girls for the same kind of fools as Xiao, and the next second, a silver arrow condensed from moonlight tore through the air like a shooting star. It let out a mournful howl and leapt to its feet, and never in its wildest dreams had it imagined these frail little snacks could unleash that kind of damage. -88 poison, -92 poison, 1,800 HP, and a third of its health gone in an instant. The silver-haired sentinel didn't flinch, didn't dodge, and at the last possible second, a fiery, curvaceous figure threw herself in front of her. Talk to his daggers first, and Yao Yao laughed sweetly, her daggers streaking into dark purple light as she met the shockwave head-on. Lu Qinghao stomped the ground, and the shockwave exploded outward with him at its center. She drew the Windong longbow to full, pouring every ounce of her spiritual power into it. He have successfully slain the level 6 dungeon boss, Black Wind Wolf King, and but the very instant the corpse hit the floor, the entire cavern began to shake violently. A massive claw wreathed in eerie green ghost fire reached out from the darkness, and warning, hidden boss triggered. Skills: Shadow Claw, Wraith Roar, Death Gaze, Shadow Form, and these stats are absolutely broken. Aaron, Yao Yao, fall back to the cave entrance with everyone, and use the terrain to keep it at bay. They led the Lolas and Sentinels back to the narrow cave mouth, taking cover behind the rock wall and opening up with ranged harassment, and -5, 18, 5. Ruer enraged. The Shadow Wolf Emperor opened its M, and a black sound wave came sweeping in like a tsunami. This is the moment, and Lu Qinghao pulled out a faintly glowing mush. The sound waves grazed past their tiny feet and slammed into the rock wall, cracking it in every direction, and truly a product of the Primordial Spirit Field. Like a seasoned battlefield commander, Lu Qinghao relied on the bizarre gadgets in his backpack to defuse crisis after crisis, and Scout's eye to monitor its movements. A squad with an average level under 6 was somehow holding down an 8th level hidden boss, and its health bar dropped slow but steady, its phantom body dissolving into a mass of pure black resentment and vanishing on the spot. And it's got a HP lock transformation, too. Meow let Yao Yao try, and maybe she can drain it dry. An 8th level hidden boss, and who knew what freaky abilities the shadow form was hiding. A gentle breeze drifted out from between the blades of grass, and Master, what are he? Was the cave too stuffy for him? And Lu Qinghao didn't bother explaining. The resentment seemed to sense something and abruptly stopped, and the pollen engulfed it in an instant. That enormous mass of black resentment actually started dancing where it stood, twisting into an shape one moment, a B shape the next, all seductive and coquettish, and Elaine and Yao Yao were stunned. While it's make it suffer, then finish it off, and physical attacks did nothing, but the skills carried magic damage. That arrogant Wolf King, wiggling its hips with total swagger, got beaten out of 1,000 HP while it strutted around, but the instant its health bar bottomed out, HP below 1%. Level 8, HP 1,000, 1,000, and it's got a third life. All enemies within range lose 1% of their max HP per second, and the endless stream of -1% popping up over his head made him completely lose his cool. The Reaper-like Wolf King slowly raised its black scythe, its ghost fire eyes locking dead onto him, and an indescribable terror smothered the entire field. Without a second thought, Lu Qinghao hurled it straight into its gaping blood-red and eat this, he bastard. It didn't seem to understand why this lowly human on the brink of death would feed it a snack before it could figure it out, and the peach burst in its mouth. Its ghost fire eyes filled with shock and bliss, and a pink glow began radiating from its body. All stats temporarily reduced by 20% for 1 hour, and dead silence filled the cave. With the hidden Wolf Emperor weakened by his enchanted peach, Lu Qinghao prepares to finish the dungeon battle on his own terms.